Right, cool. Let's see. Oh, crap. Let's see. Cool. What's up, bro? You just gotta switch the camera around.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yep.
Can you see me
Cool.
now?
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah, I had you on the remote and whatnot.
It's all good.
Yeah, now this is much better, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. It was probably the connection.
Yeah, I turned my Wi-Fi off too, so
Perfect. Okay, cool.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, man. So like as I was saying before, I was trying to do my little shape up thing, whatever, whatnot, and get on this live with you because I was like, I didn't want to look too much like a homeless man while being on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we're all hibernating right now, so I totally feel you on that, man.
Yeah, man. So before we get started, first thing first, how are you holding up in the whole, in the whole regards, to the coronavirus pandemic?
Holding up pretty well, man. Can't complain. I mean, it's only so many books you can read before it's just like, man, I need to get out and do something. So,
Yeah.
just been doing a lot of planning and stuff, just getting ready for us to get back out there. But, not much we can do right now aside from, things on the internet.
Yeah,
Trying to
for
use the
sure.
internet to, how about you?
Same here, man. Just trying to grow, trying to like learn. I've been writing, working on a few new projects. Still working on the book on a flower that rose. So obviously
Beautiful.
that's coming next summer. So a lot of things going on right now, man. So trying to patch it up all together. So that's pretty much it. What's up, Pat? How you fellas doing? It's been a minute since I caught the show. Welcome back, man. We're happy to have you.
What's going on?
Happy to have you, man. Yeah, bro. So sorry everyone who's now tuning in. We were having a bit of technical difficulties, but we're here. We're ready and we're ready to rock. We're kind of just going to get right into it, and then we're going to bring on our special guest, Jermaine, in a moment. And then when he comes in, Mark and I are going to have a quick 10, 15-minute segment. And when he comes in, I'll just go on to the chat, and I'll be on the rest of the way, just watching from the chat with you guys as they kind of,
Gotcha.
Dispute the purpose of college or whatnot. Yeah, man, let's do this thing, all right? 1, 2, 3, here we go. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, Kevin Anglade.
Smart Pruden.
And this is the Wise Guys Live podcast, all right? We're live to you today in direct. Shout out to Been Here Forever. Jermaine's the best. He absolutely is. And if you are one of his supporters and friends, we're happy to have you and can't wait to, have you, get a chance to hear him out and hear what he has to say. Jermaine, welcome also, brother, but Mark will formally introduce you once it's time. All right, ladies and gents of the Wise community today, those that are old and new, as of Tuesday this week, we just dropped our latest episode, episode 18, Good Kid, Mad City, which featured Jermaine Meadows, our lovely special guest, Jermaine, who is also from New York City. And basically on this episode, we talked about, children living within impoverished communities trying to find a way to make it within this country, such as going to school, finding scholarships, going to college, and as well as, moreover, we also talked about, whether or not college and the degree had some type of value or some sort of value to it. So I'm going to ask Mark that question in a second. But I just wanted to let you know, for those that are old listeners, those of you that are new listeners, please be sure to not just like the podcast, right? We want you to share it with your friends and family. So please be sure to, rate the podcast, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Please be sure to share it with your friends. And if you ever have any sort of question or comment that you'd like to leave us, please be sure to email that, to us at thewiseguysnyc@gmail.com. I'll also drop it below. All right, thewiseguysnyc@gmail.com in regards to our podcast. Please, we want to know what you think, because moving forward as we head towards season 2, Mark and I want to make sure we incorporate your topics, your ideas, and create episodes based off that. We want to give you value based off of what you need in your life and the type of wisdom that you are searching and seeking for. All right, and so episode 18 with Jermaine, I'm going to get to that in a second, but also episode 19 coming up next week with our guest, Jonathan Nicholas. We also talk about, thank you, Mark, for writing that down. We also talk about is college worth it as well. So the next 2 episodes, actually, episode 18 and 19, are dedicated and devoted to college and whether it's worth it or not, okay? So with that being said, Man, I just kind of want to, kind of go back and forth with you for a bit, Mark, and kind of get right into it. And also, too, we're on, if you hit the link in our bio, you'll see our link tree. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, trying to see what else I'm missing, YouTube, Castro, TuneIn, wherever podcasts can be found. If you click the link tree, you'll find us there. Not SoundCloud, though. We're trying to work on SoundCloud for season 2. Hi, Lisa. Lisa, thanks for joining us. Yes, that is a good friend and colleague of mine from oh man, I'm kind of blanking out right now. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that she joined us. From the oh man, I forget the name of her podcast. But you know what? It's cool though, because she can drop it. I actually listened to it today. She can actually type it down here in the comment. Please, I'm gonna put pressure on you so that way everyone knows. But she has a great podcast as well. I was just on it a few months ago, and I'm really, really happy to have you, Lisa. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being here. Yeah, Mark. So, college, man. College. Progress, not perfection. Thank you, Lisa. I blanked out. I knew it, but I just blanked out. Progress, not perfection with Dr. W. We've definitely, check that out. Yeah, we've definitely promoted it on our page a few times. I just listened to some of her updates and her latest episodes today. Great job, Lisa. I was going to let you know. So please be sure to follow that, guys. And she is actually a perfect person who can actually comment, however long she's in here today, forever how long she's in here, because she's actually a college professor just as myself, and she obviously knows whether or not college is worth it, right? So, all right, I want to get right into it because I see, everyone is waiting. The college degree. Everyone here who is currently participating, Mark, can you type this question right now into the comment box? Can you type in or just put in a college degree? Is it leverage or power? If you could just type that in.
Yeah, sure.
So recently we talked about college on the episode with Jermaine, and as well as the following episode, episode 19. So college is something that we all go through. I know when I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do per se. And, as time progressed, I realized that I wanted to teach. And so I was like, man, I think I really want to be a college professor. And I said, what is one way that I could possibly do that, right? And I was an English major. And the way I did that is I decided to sign up to Teach for America, right? Living in New York City, signed up to Teach for America because I had my bachelor's degree, right, Mark? And with my bachelor's degree, I was working at Queensboro for 2-3 years, and I was literally, and we've had convos about this in the podcast, I was depressed because I was like, here I am working for 2-3 years with an English degree, and I'm trying to make it in publishing, and for some reason, like, the industry hasn't opened its arms for me, right? I did internships, I did, a whole bunch of wealth of different type of experiences working in publishing companies in terms of like internships and apprenticeships, but I never got a chance to like actually make my way into the door. So I said to myself, hey, Tavia, what's up? She says it's power. I said to myself, man, like, what am I going to do here, right? And then I got the epiphany, Mark. Oh, man, I really do like reading. I like learning. And I do have a strong wealth of abundance of information to share in terms of mentorship. So I said, why not? You look nice. I said, why not, Danielle? I said, why not, go into teaching? And a friend of mine was doing TFA, Teach for America, down in North Carolina, and he told me about it. And I was like, you know what? Let me look into this program. So I signed up. I did an interview. I got in. And I literally had to move to Connecticut within the time frame of like 9 months. I was just like, you know what? Cool. I might as well do it because, I'm about to graduate I'm about to graduate now from grad school with my master's. I don't have anything else going for me. I've been trying to break into the publishing industry for the past 3 years. No doors have been opening. I was like, you know what? Even though I want to teach college, my Teach for America program, it's only 2 years, right, where I go to an impoverished school, and I serve there as a teacher for 2 years. I get a little grant back that I could apply towards my student loans, which is $5,000, right, which I did. So I said, you know what, there's a lot of things I can get out of this. Plus the $5,000 putting back towards my loans, not too bad, you know, and at the time I had 20 Ks in loans, and now it's around 13, so I'm still working on it, almost there. So I said, okay, cool, and I went for it. And I soon realized that I didn't really enjoy the profession. I didn't like working as a teacher from K through 12. You know, it's a lot of hard work. The teachers go through a lot. But that's everyone, right? Everyone has a job that they hate, that they like, whatever the case may be. But I realized that if I wanted to teach, I could make my way in with a degree, right? But I feel as if, like, it put me in a situation, Mark, where I had to earn another degree in order to gain some form of leverage in order to like desperately make money. So I leave that right there, and I pose this question to you, because after you answer this, and then we go back and forth for like the next 5 minutes, I want to bring Jermaine in and kind of fade out and let you and Jermaine go at it in a good way. But so I say all this to say, Mark, what is your opinion on this? The college degree, is it power or is it leverage? I know we've been talking about it. Jermaine has been talking about it on the stories. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's most certainly leverage, but not every degree is leverage. You know, it's very specific with that as well. Because if I get a degree in, you know, let's say something random like, let's just say history, right? You know, is that leverage towards, you know, a high-paying job? It's very, very debatable. I mean, every degree isn't a quality degree. Some degrees are simply made for someone that just may be seeking knowledge in a certain area, but it may not bring you that job. It's just very interesting. We can't even say every degree is leverage, because it's not. Certain degrees are. I mean, and then when you say worth it, you have to really think about what we're comparing it to. Is it worth the time? Sure. I mean, it's worth the time. Me going to school for 4 years, me getting, you know, knowledge that I wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. Sure, it's worth the time. But if you say, is it worth the money? That's the real debate. Because now if we say, is it worth the money, we have to look at it as an investment. Right. And we have to look at it as, you know, what return on investment can I get on this $40,000? For some people, what return on investment can I get on this $100,000? And sometimes the ROI is zero if you compare it to other sectors, because there's some plumbers that can out earn probably 70 to 80% of college graduates. So are we saying a college degree is worth it compared to being a plumber? Because that would be no, because they can make a very, very good salary just with that trade. So it depends on what you're comparing it to say, is it worth the money? A lot of the time, I believe it's not, unless you're going towards the medical profession, such as, you know, doctor, nurse, if you're going to be a lawyer. But it's just that's the question I have to throw back at you. What are we comparing it to?
Right. Pat says time equals money, though.
I mean, time equals money, but if you waste your time, you are burning money. You see what I'm saying? So if, let's say I want to get into business, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to build a business, and I sit in a college class for 4 years learning how to build a business from someone who's never built a business, in some cases. I lost 4 years of experience that I could have went straight out of high school into, you know, let's say, even if you were to, you know, work under someone that manages a pizza store, you were getting real life business experience. I mean, no, it's serious. It's real life business experience. Seeing how you account for inventory, how you account for, you know, your profits, your losses, how you handle these tax related issues. You're making, you know, this is real experience. Compared to the person that sits in a college class for 4 years, comes out with a donut, zero experience. So who's winning? I mean, we have to really say, you know, what are we comparing it to? Because if you're comparing it to, it's a tough one. It's really a tough one. I mean, we can go on forever, but it's just some degrees aren't worth it, I'd say. Some are, but a lot aren't.
It's interesting that you say that, Mark, because, like, how can I say this to you? Had I working at an internship, you know, and if anyone differs or has a different matter of opinion, anyone out there in the WISE community, please be sure to tell us your thoughts, you know, or share your experiences, please. Working at an internship, right, and getting that internship experience, even though I wasn't getting any money out of it, you know, I felt as if it was a tangible amount of experience that I would not have had I done the internship. So I say that because, first and foremost, I'm not pro-internship, honestly, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Because
okay.
because I believe all interns should be paid. If I'm coming in every day during the summer to work 8 to 5 and I'm just getting experience to put on my resume, which at the end of the day, by the time you actually start working, you actually bury that internship experience and you throw it out of your resume. Like, so if that's the case, pay me, because at the end of the day, I'm just using this experience for leverage so that way I can actually start working and you know, monetizing my value and my experience as a worker. So it's just like, you know, pay the intern. So I'm not pro intern because I believe interns can be paid. And like a lot of the times, right, 7 times out of 10, you'll get an internship. You'll probably get 3, 4 internships on your resume. But if they see, oh, you know, worked at CBS or NBC News, intern, production assistant intern, they're like, okay, he interned, so he has some idea, he has some experience here. But 9 times out of 10, you know, they're looking at other things too, man. They're looking at the branding of your education, all this other stuff too. And I say that because had I not even done an internship, Mark, I would have just had 4 years of college experience only. Meaning that by the time I would have started working, I wouldn't have known what to do. Mind you, stepping into teaching, especially if you've never done it before, that's a whole new world, a whole new arena, a whole new ball game. But had I not even had the experience, right, just with those internships of knowing when to punch in, punch out, being punctual, being on time, I wouldn't have actually had that on-ground level experience because I'm going to tell you now, brother, just sitting in that classroom, all you're getting is just the theory, right? You're not getting the practicality. So, you know, going into the job, I was just like, damn, man, there's a lot of things here that I need to learn, but if I didn't even have a bit of experience with the internship, that shows a lot, you know? And I'm thinking, like, when I have children, I probably want them to work when they're 16, 17, 18. You know, get that experience, you know, work out at McDonald's, work somewhere, you know, just get a little bit of that experience going. You know, I think it's really, really, really important. But, yeah, but a lot of the times our students are sitting in the classroom, and since they've sat in the classroom, they think just the knowledge itself is going to attribute to them getting the job, and then they hit like this postpartum 6-month depression after college, and they're like, "Damn, man, where's the jobs? How come I'm not hired?" My brother is currently going through that. My half brother on my father's side, he graduated with his master's degree, I think an MBA in like finance or something, back in August, and he's still looking for a job.
But if you weren't building your network while you were in college, you were just playing the student, you know.
Oh, he did. And I was going to say this. Keep your point. I just want to say he went straight from his bachelor's straight to his master's. 0 experience.
I mean, that's what happens when you become a professional student. You come out and it's like, wait, what do I do? Well, it's strange because if I go to, you know, let's say you go to a graduation for a class that got their bachelor's in business management or business administration, and you stop them all at the door and say, who's ready to start a business?
Right.
No one's raising their hand. You may get 1 or 2. Who is ready right now? You got your degree. You got your certificate. Who's ready to start a business right now? Do you feel equipped to begin your journey in business? I guarantee 70% of them will say, no, I need to go back to school so I can learn more. People think school is the answer, you know, when it comes to business, but that real life experience is invaluable. And if you're in the classroom, you're not getting experience running a business. Anyone can show you on a board, this is what we do. But if you're not doing it with your mind and doing it with your hands, you're playing the student, you know? Some people are only students. I would understand if someone is working on a business while they're in school, but some people are only students. And I feel like in the entrepreneur space, that can hurt a person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting. We're about to get Jermaine on here in a second. It's interesting, bro, because, like, how do I say this to you? I don't know, man. Like, when I really think about it, I only went to college because my parents told me it was good, and because I grew up in a Haitian household. It was like, go to school, you know. Since I was like 12, 13 years old, my dad was like, get your bachelor's, get your master's. I'm like a master's? I'm like 13 years old, man. I'm still playing SmackDown 2 on the PlayStation 2, man. What you talking about, master's degree? You know what I'm saying? But when I think about it, you know, I am very smart, you know, and I attribute that to my parents because my parents are very intelligent. But although I am smart, I attribute to me going to school and getting educated to now being an educator myself and having had the experience as a teacher and a professor because my parents told me to go to school. That's all they could give me. That's all they told me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the thing about that is in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you can add the 50s as well. If you got a college degree, there was a job market. Once you walk out of graduation, there were jobs just waiting to grab you. In this day and age, the college degree has become the market. Let's say the pool for people with college degrees has become so diluted. There are more college degree holders than jobs. And now you have a problem of, they call it academic inflation. So everyone and their mom has a degree now. So now, how do we choose who's getting the job? It's going to be how you network. And with that being said, you have technology replacing certain jobs, eliminating that market as well. I have a statistic here. In the year 2020, which is this year, there will be 19 million college graduates, but only 7 million new jobs requiring a college degree. Where are these people going? Where are these 13 million people with degrees going? They're not getting a job in their field. They're going to go wherever they can go. And that, I feel that it's ridiculous. I mean, for someone to invest that much time and to come out and it's a totally different ball game, it really sucks. But that's the nature of investing. You know,
agreed.
It may not work out. Then you've got to switch gears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I just want to say this last point because I really want to get Jermaine on here, man. I don't want to take his screen time away. What was I going to say to you? I was going to say, I was watching, you know, I was going back and forth with you last night, and I was watching these IGTV videos, and one was with Gary Vee, and he was talking to this guy who was like, you know, I'm depressed right now because I just graduated from college with a degree in communications because my dad told me to do it, and now I don't know what I want to do because I never really wanted to I never wanted to do it anyway, and I was in college saying, all right, well, maybe I'll just figure myself out. And then Gary Vee was like, well, that's the thing, man. A lot of, you know, African Americans or people of color and people who have parents that are immigrants from other countries, they're telling you to go to college, you know what I'm saying, because they're seeing you as a trophy prize. They want to say, oh, well, my son did this, my daughter did that, or, you know, my nephew, my niece did that, and it becomes a competition. So it becomes like you're not just going to college for yourself, actually. No, in theory, what it actually is that you're going to college because your parents want you to do it because, one, they think it's going to give you money, and two, on top of that, they just want to be able to brag at the family dinner or the family barbecue or function saying, oh, well, Timmy's doing that, or, you know, Casey's doing this, or Lynn is doing that. And it's like, while all at the same time, the kid is having depression and is not telling mommy and daddy what's really going through their minds. What do you have to say about that? And then after you respond to that, I'm going to hop out to let Jermaine come on.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the thing. I mean, when it comes to a lot of our parents, well, a small percentage, you know, sometimes they are living through the children. They want their children to do what they couldn't do.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people in, let's say, middle class to lower class, they believe that the college degree is going to save them from poverty.
I'm laughing because it's true. I laugh at truth. Yeah. I laugh at truth. It's true.
They believe, listen, you get the degree, you'll never have to worry about a thing. Like, this is a one thing fix all. You take this thing, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
The college degree, along with student debt, is ruining more lives than it enhances.
Right. Yeah, man.
I mean, if I take out a personal loan, I can file bankruptcy if I can't pay for it, and I can get that off my back.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long process, but I can. With student debt, you cannot get out of it.
Yeah.
The only way out of a student loan is death, which we don't want, or you're incapacitated to the point where you cannot work, or, you know, and possibly I think they were implying if you lose your arms and legs, I believe that was something, you know, rendering you incapable of working. That's when you can get out of it.
Right.
So essentially, I can't get out of it. Let's just be straight up. You can't get out of the student loan. I don't have student loans, but I'm just saying, me as a millennial, this is what we're going through. Yeah. And it's a trap. It's a trap. Yeah. And you're essentially paying for the rest of your working life, because a lot of degrees have the stipulation where if you pay for 25 years, you can get out of it. It forgives itself. Some student loans have that stipulation. So essentially, from 21 until your mid 40s, you are going to have to pay this loan at a 7, 8, 9% rate. It's locking people in, and it's absolutely ridiculous, because a lot of people don't know the largest asset on the United States of America's books, right? Yeah. You would think, oh, wow, America, I would think their largest asset is their oil, because, you know, they've got a lot of oil reserves. No, it's not that. Maybe it's their land. You know, maybe it's the United States, their land, that their largest asset. No. The largest asset on the United States of America's books is student loan debt. That's their largest asset. So essentially, the people are, I mean, it's almost like indentured servitude.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you are essentially locked into a loan that you can't get out of.
Right.
And even if you go to retirement and you haven't paid this loan off for some loans, they will start to take your Social Security.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
So
But
it's just we weren't educated on what these loans are before we signed. I mean, no one held a gun to your head when you signed for the student loan, but when you're not informed, you sign.
Yeah.
When you get an iPhone, you see the terms and conditions. You swipe through, agree. No one's reading the fine print, and they did the same thing with
Right.
student loans. And now we have a generation of children locked into a loan that they had no. I'm sure they didn't understand what they were signing.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Kev, you know what's funny? Even if they did understand what they were signing, college is so lit, they would have signed it anyway.
Anyway, especially if they go to Howard, right?
Of course. Come on.
All right, man. Let me stop right there. Because I want to be.
We're still going. We're still going.
No. I want to be very respectful to Jermaine's time, man.
Oh,
because
no,
remember,
absolutely.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at the time. It's 5:33, and then our cutoff time is 6:08. You know what I'm saying? So I'll actually allow you to continue this convo with him. So
absolutely.
if I'm still able to get back on, then I will jump back on with you. If not, if you close it out with Jermaine, just be sure to shout out this episode and as well as our next episode, which will further the conversation on college. And yeah, so Jermaine, brother, get ready. Come on, ladies and gents. Those of you that are joining, if you follow my page and you find this conversation to be very interesting, like my personal page, please be sure to follow Wise Guys NYC right now, because once I back out, you know, you won't be able to see the convo unless you're following us on Wise Guys NYC. So please be sure to follow Wise Guys NYC if you are indeed interested into this topic. And if I don't come back on, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And I'm going to be in the comments, you know, commenting and just watching Jermaine and Mark, two educated brothers, you know, and very intelligent brothers have this convo. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, brother. We'll see you soon. We'll bring you right back on after.
If possible, yeah. 6:08. I'm going to keep track of the time. All right.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Let me bring Jermaine.
All right, Jermaine, come on, brother. It's your time, man.
So you can just okay, cool, perfect. Waiting for Jermaine now.
King, what's going on,
my brother? What's going on, brother? How's everything?
Bro? Everything is good, bro. I was here taking notes. Yeah, I was dropping a lot of things there, you know, so I had to take some notes over here.
Appreciate that, man. I know you got a lot of gems for the people as well.
Yeah, yes, sir. How's everything?
Everything is good, brother. Can't complain. You know, just trying to make myself productive during this quarantine. How about you?
I can't complain, bro. Everything is everything, man. But I wanna jump straight into it. I was over here itching like, whoa.
Yeah, so, I know, brother. So I guess first of all, just tell the people about yourself, you know, just so they can get to know you if they didn't see the podcast episode.
Okay, so my name is Jermaine Meadows. Currently, I'm a graduate student at the University at Albany, and as of today, I officially launched my Breaking Barriers consulting firm, which strives to develop youth, communities, organizations, schools, and companies by leading and provoking difficult discussions, constructing Black joy, reconstructing Black joy, bridging gaps, and combating inequalities. And the link to my website is actually on my Instagram. So once you tap it, it'll be at the top. And that's pretty much me, brother.
That's beautiful, brother. I love what you're doing. That's a beautiful mission that you got going on, man. Now, you know, everybody loved that episode that you were on, and personally, it was one of my favorites. You know, that whole power versus leverage thing. A lot of the fans definitely enjoyed that one. So, I guess, kind of give us your perspective. What do you think? Is the degree power or is it leverage?
I think it's both, right?
Okay.
But real quick, before we get into that, right, I wanted to touch base on a few things y'all mentioned. So you were saying, like, hypothetically speaking, what if somebody majored in something like history going to college? Like, how are you going to utilize that degree, right? So for me, I think we've been taught that if you go to school, you major in business, you know, you create your own business, right? Or you major in teaching, you become a teacher, or you become a nurse, or you become a doctor. But I don't think we really open our minds up and really expand on what's out there for you. So, for example, let's say you got a communications degree. You could be a chief communication person of a college. That's the actual position. That's the thing. You get paid well, and you interact with students. So that's something I think is a great opportunity, right? You could be a history professor at a college as well. Like there's people who study history that open up museums that shows things that happen to Black and brown people throughout history, right? So I think those things is very important when you pursuing your education career. I think if that's your passion, you should do that and make something out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's life, right? And I think that's with anything. You go into it kind of with a business plan, or you learn as you go along. Like you into home ownership, you may, you know, go to your house and you like, damn, I never knew when I was looking at this house, I was just looking at how the outside was and how the inside was, but I wasn't looking at the piping, right? So next thing you know, your ceiling's falling in and you having basement issues, you know? So things like that is some stuff you learn along the way and you adapt. So
absolutely. I like what you said. That was actually beautiful, because I think what you're saying is we need to think outside the box when we get these degrees. A lot of people are getting degrees and they're thinking linear. They're thinking, I get this, I have to get that, I'm going to get this degree, I have to be this no matter what. But you're saying people should definitely think outside the box. But
because
when it comes to
because it's more out there for it's more out there for us than what we've been taught as children growing up in these education systems, right? So it's it's like, for example, it's like when we speak about the chief of communications or a chief of diversity person or a business analytical person, you can do that for corporations. Like LinkedIn, this Instagram that we on right now at the headquarters, they got positions for us on education programming. So I think there's a space for everyone everywhere. And it's not that simplistic, right? Like it's networking. There's so many things that go into it, but knowing that those things are available is important.
Absolutely. That's the thing. I mean, I don't think we're saying that, you know, there's not enough opportunity. Well, that is what we're saying. We know these jobs are out there. A lot of people are going to school to get the jobs that you just mentioned. But the problem is there's academic inflation going on. There are more degree holders than jobs for these degree holders. You know what I mean? So even though we have people that are thinking linear and they're not actually, you know, being strategic with their degrees, a lot of the time there's no jobs in the market for them. So yes, we must say the option is, if you have a history degree, you know, you have to think critically, you know, get a little, almost like an entrepreneur-like mindset and try to find a way to take your passion and create a business with it. Because you went to school, you're going through your master's. That's a beautiful thing. And I see that you're more leaning towards getting a degree to get a job. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the job. A lot of securities that come with the job, you know, when it comes to healthcare, you know, protections like that. But if we look at the tax code and we look at building wealth, we have to see that, you know, when you're working a job, you're paying the most taxes. So essentially, the average working person pays 20 to 25% in taxes. But an entrepreneur, a business owner, the tax code is written for them. They have the ability to write things off. They have the ability to depreciate assets. So essentially, focusing on a job can essentially diminish your wealth building potential. Because the tax code's designed for two people. It's the business owner and the landowner. That's it. If you're working a job, you're being taxed immensely. Donald Trump paid zero taxes.
I understand what you're saying, but I also think it's not that simplistic, right? And for example, you know, I land a career job, you know, I'm working, and like one of my goals next summer is, you know, to invest in my first rental property, right? So that's gonna build wealth for me. And I'm still working the full-time job, reaping benefits and getting the salary and doing things that I'm passionate about. So you can definitely do both, because within 5 years, I'm going to invest in another property. So now I have two business property that's bringing me money, right? And I'm building assets and wealth at the same time. And I'm still receiving a salary doing something that I'm happy waking up to do every morning, because I feel like that's my calling. Right. So I think it is great to have your own business. Right. And also sometimes that's not for everybody. So we could take Kevin, like he enjoys teaching. There's some people who wake up every day and they want to go to a classroom and be with their students, and that brings them joy. So, you know, and I think building wealth and generational wealth, passing it down to your kids, that's amazing. Right. But I think that's not everyone's dream as well. Or
exactly. You know, you're right on that, brother. I'm totally with you. And, you know, what I've learned over the years is, you know, everyone has their method to get to success, and everybody has their version of success. Your success may be different from Kev's vision of success and maybe different from mine. But the thing about it is, you know, your whole philosophy is education, you know, going the education route. Same thing with Kevin. But the thing is, I mean, it's interesting because no one is wrong, because there's a successful person in every sector. Right. I know some real estate investors that will tell you never invest in stocks. It's garbage. I know some stock investors that are successful that still never invest in real estate. Right. So I don't disagree with you when you say that there's opportunity for people with college degrees, but I feel like people that, you know, go to college specifically to get a certain job, it's a bit risky at times because the job market isn't always there. I shared this statistic with Kev, and it says in the year 2020, there's 19 million new college graduates. And that's a beautiful thing. We have 19 million new college graduates, but there's only 7 million new jobs requiring a college degree. Right. This goes back to the academic inflation that I was talking about. You know, there are more degree holders than jobs for these degree holders. So saying that the college degree is the answer for people and the answer for our people in, you know, impoverished areas, it's a flawed mindset because we're limiting their thinking and saying that you have to go to college to get a job. We have to show them there's more options. Trade schools. You don't have to own a business. Trade schools, like I said, learning a skill, learning a trade. Even with real estate, if I would have, you know, started as a real estate agent when I was 17 or 18, instead of going to Wendy's at 17, I would be much more ahead than I am now. It's just that it really is, and I can't say the parents are to blame because you can't teach what you don't know. Right. So they're going to do the best that they can. Right. And, you know, and a lot of people think I hate college. I love college. I think it's a beautiful thing. But the cost makes college not worth it at all.
I mean, I think once again, it depends on how you work it, right? So for me, I 110% agree and think that it's worth it. Like, I would encourage my future kids or my cousins to definitely go to college or even go to trade school, right? I wouldn't say college is the only way to be successful, but I think it definitely play a role. And I saw, you know, you was pulling some statistics and all that. So, you know, I was Googling a few things. I got my laptop here.
Beautiful, and, beautiful. You know, I love it.
Actually, you know, education, right? It says education has been and is a way out of poverty, right? And students with a college degree have fared far better, even during the last recession, than those who either left school before graduation or earned only a high school diploma. So even when you think about, let's say this month, when, you know, the federal government doesn't bail out New York State, there's going to be a lot of cuts to the budget, and that's going to impact education. A lot of social workers, people are going to lose their jobs, right? So having a degree does give you leverage over people in the next few months that's going to be out of a job. So if you don't have a degree and you're looking in the job market, it's going to be hard. At least with a degree, it gives you that leverage and that foot in the door. And with the experiences and you know, the things that you're bringing with you, that helps. So I would definitely say, you know,
100%, brother.
So that's, I think 100%. Realistically, and when you talk about a student that's like 18, you know, and you like, oh, maybe you could have learned how to invest in real estate. You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you don't come from that background where your dad or your mom growing up owned all of these properties and they schooling you to the game from day one, you at a disadvantage, right? So when we talk about degrees, Black and brown people already start off at a disadvantage from day one. So that degree helps you get an advantage, and we still behind, right? And we do, you know, so
I totally agree with that,
factors, brother. Right? And when we talk about education, like I mentioned on the podcast, you know, I feel like we shouldn't put down the power, you know, or the value of a degree and how much respect that it holds. And even when we talk about hip hop, like rappers, they influence culture. They have power over the kids, over the community. Like, that's a level of power. Athletes. And it should be the same thing for educators, the people that's in the classroom teaching our students and teaching us, you know. And I think it goes a long way, because when we bring it back to the people that's making policies, controlling how your house is going to operate, how you should follow the state standards or all of these laws, people with degrees are creating the things that we live our life by. Even the simple fact of getting rid of plastic bags that you use every day. People with degrees sat in the room and did that, you know? So I think there's a realistic respect and awareness that needs to go along with those things, because we do need to be in those spaces as well, or we'll constantly be put behind through policies and through everything, through every sector you can name.
I definitely agree that the degree is a good tool for, you know, for families, and, you know, because I feel like it helps you build the groundwork, the ground floor. So in order for you to get, you know, attain wealth and invest money, you have to hire your income. You have to hire your salary. So I do agree that for certain people, certain neighborhoods, a degree is necessary for some people. But what about, but the problem that I see is us as a people are not being strategic when we're picking these degrees. You speak about the degree being valuable, but what about the person that picks a degree and they don't have a job market? They don't have, it's almost useless. Like there's certain majors that are completely useless when it comes to getting a job. We're talking about getting a job because you just spoke about getting a job.
But so this is what I say when I say that I think we've been taught false narratives, right? So when I go on a job interview, they may not even ask me what I majored in. They're looking at my experience. Oh, you interned here. Oh, you worked here. Oh, you did this for a few years. The degree is really just the minimum qualifications, right?
Absolutely.
And when you go on that interview, everything they asking you is based on your experience and who you are. Will you fit in with this team? What is your values? Like, what are you like as a person? Can I work with you? Can you take feedback? They're not, oh, you majored in science and this is nothing to do with that. We can't hire you. No, you majored in science, but you did this over the summer. You worked here for 3 years. You're highly qualified. And the degree just gets you in the door to have that conversation.
Absolutely. And I don't disagree with you on any of that. I think, you know, there might be a notion that I do, but I completely agree with you. But what I'm saying is more geared towards the student loans. Certain degrees are crap. Certain degrees are excellent. Like you said, you can get a job with a degree that's completely irrelevant to the job. But isn't that a shame that someone has to get a job completely irrelevant to their degree? Don't you agree?
No, it's not, because as life progresses, you learn about yourself. You learn your values change.
I'm saying the person that wanted to work in that field, though. I'm saying the person that wanted to work in a specific field, they got the degree and they're very happy about it, to later find out there is no job market for them. You don't think that's a shame?
When you say no job market, what you mean by that?
They can't find jobs in the field that they wanted to go to. Like they just couldn't find any available jobs.
I mean, I think, right, when you think about that, if you just go to college, you just go to class, you go to the library, you go home, go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you do the same thing. You have to put in work outside of the classroom. Nothing is just going to come to you. Of course. Right? So once again, if you're putting in that work, like you got to go the extra mile to create the things that you want. So it's the problem. But no. Because let's do the same thing when we have the conversation about home ownership. If you don't take that money out of your pocket, right, and turn $100,000 house into a $150,000 or $200,000 looking house, and make sure it's that quality, no one is going to buy that house from you when it's time for you to sell it. Not. So once again, you did that legwork to put you in a position where you can profit off of your investment. So that's the same thing with college. If you don't put in the footwork, you're going to get those results. If you put in that good work, you're going to get what you put in. But that's what anything in life. But if we have 70% of our community not putting in that footwork while they're in college and they come out with nothing, we have a huge issue. It's just going to keep happening. And we're not even developing programs to guide these 17 and 18-year-olds when they enter college and sign on these loans. There's no guidance. So they're going through it, you know, running wild, and they come out at a disadvantage. I mean, whether the degree is valuable or not, that's to be debated. I think there's value to it. But when you have someone using the tool incorrectly, the tool is worthless to them. You know? If I think, you know, go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just saying, like, you know, if you put a power tool in my hand, you know, like some type of saw, I've never used it. If I don't know what to do with it, it's useless to me. So it's the same thing with the degree. We have people holding these degrees, but they have no ability to use it because they didn't go through the right avenues through college. So that I wouldn't. But once again, I think there's so many factors to consider, right? Like, and I take myself as an example. When you go into these spaces and there's no guidance, you learn along the way. So what brought me into college was, I want to be an athlete. I thought I was going to run track somewhere, right? And that's what got me there. And then I learned that, I really have more to offer. Like, I'm actually intelligent. Like, I can, I can speak about this. I can do this. I value so many more things outside of playing football and running track, right? But so as you progress, you learn, like, oh shoot, I went to a community college. It was free. I went away upstate for my first year. And I'm like, oh, shoot, if I become an RA, I get free housing. So you learn the game. So now I'm going to school. All I'm paying is tuition, and I'm living for free, which is saving me $12,000 to $15,000 a year. right? And then you start looking into scholarships. So it's ways to milk the game, but you have to learn. You have to learn those things, but that everybody's not going to have those benefits. Yes, but you put in, whatever you put in, you're going to get out. You get what I'm saying? So if you putting in the work and you seeking the knowledge and you want to learn, you'll be good.
I agree.
You know
I agree with you.
But look, and even if, right, I think we thinking, yes, student loans is a problem, right? But let's think about, like, let's use me as an example. So when I graduate with my master's, right, I'm gonna be 25, probably $50,000, $60,000 in debt. That's not bad, bro. If I pay $20,000 a year, right, or even $10,000 a year, I'll be debt free by the time I'm 30. I got my whole life ahead of me, bro.
I'm with you, brother.
So
I'm with you. I'm with you, but what you just said, it sounds easy. Oh, if I put $10,000, $20,000 a year, it sounds easy. But most people cannot do that. You know, you may be blessed with the situation. You may not have kids. You may not have certain obligations. There are people with obligations that they have to tend to. They can't put 20 grand a year on the student loan debt. There's people that are going to carry their student loan debt for the rest of their life. I mean, you, brother, we saw the article. It was a beautiful write-up that they did for you in reference to Queensboro. Let's keep it real. You're a success story. Am I right?
I guess I'll say that. But wait, hold on.
So not everybody has access to that information. Yes, I shouldn't say that.
But that's true.
That's true. They're not using it.
No, that's true. Not everyone have access to that information. That is a fact. But that's why we here, right? So as a brother, what is my responsibility? To share that information on platforms like this. Like, exactly. It's not that, we can't do it no, we could do it because I was told that I couldn't do it. And now I'm here, right? So I see the comments. Some people like, 20,000, 10,000, that's a lot. Cool. We're going to do 5,000 baby steps, bro. You got to crawl before you can walk, right? So if I'm putting 5,000 down every year, by the time I'm 35, I'm debt free. And I'm still probably, by the time I'm 30, hold on. If I'm working right, I'm gaining experience, I'm learning job markets, and I'm being creative and innovative, and I want to learn. By the time I'm 30, I'm probably going to be making over 100K anyway, right?
In theory, brother. In theory.
No. Not for me. It's not a theory for me. That's happening.
I'm talking about the average person, brother. I mean,
but listen though, King. I think that if we as brothers, and I think this is the problem, right? There wasn't a lot of brothers that took the time to speak with me and enlighten me on these things, right? So now even here, me being in Albany, I'm learning about home ownership from older brothers that's in law school, that's in med school, that own 3 homes in other states, and they teaching me the game. So these are the things I feel like you learn along your way. And especially if you don't grow up with a silver spoon, there's going to be trial and error, bro. But it's still doable. And I'm not going to I wouldn't tell my kid, don't go to school because it's a debt. If I'm going to buy a house, if I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to invest in my future. I know that degree does give me leverage to earn more money. That's statistically proven that degrees, you earn more money. That's a fact. So if
not everybody has the ability to do that. I mean, there's people with degrees working retail right now. Yes, you have the ability. So I think what I'm saying is, from a sociological perspective, not everyone can win. There will be losers and there will be winners.
Bro, I think there's room for everybody. But
not everybody's going to get to it. There is.
All right. That's true. Not everybody is going to make it or get to it, right? But you
can lead the horse to water, but you can't force them to drink, man.
But then who responsibility is that? Is that on us or is that on them?
But it's still a failure in the system. What I'm saying is there will be people that lose in this system. Not everyone has the ambition that you have. Some people are going to get the degree and they're going to give up when they can't find a job. Yes, you have the ability to win, but not everybody's going to win. We have to realize that. And the statistic is 75% of all college graduates will never pay off their student loan. That's going to destroy the economy in the next 30 years. Why? Of course. Because student loans are the largest asset on the United States books. So this is a crazy problem. Yes, you can say, hey, you can do it. Go for it. You just put the work in, but not everybody's going to put the work in. And the people that don't put the work in still have the debt. That debt lasts forever. So we can always say, and I used to talk just like you, brother. I love the positivity. And I used to say anybody can do it. Just, save your money, invest, get educated, go on the internet and research all you can. But not everybody's going to do it. People have obligations. They have distractions. I mean, they live in certain areas that don't they're not really, it's not really conducive to success. It's just like, not everybody has the ability to have the drive that you have. You know what I mean?
True. You're
a special brother.
And that brings it back to the reason why I just launched, right, my own consulting firm, Breaking Barriers, is so we could break those barriers, right? Because it's it's so many factors that go into self-hate, right? Lack of knowledge, ignorance, and our communities. Right?
Of course, yeah.
So, and even I say this a lot. Like growing up, where I grew up, I don't know about you, but like I know I would bump into a lot of brothers that gangbang and sell drugs on the corner before I bump into a lot of brothers that have home ownership, that has education degrees, right? Yeah. And a lot of people, what they want to do, sports or rap, right? Those are the two realities, but it's so much more than that. But if we don't show brothers that, yo, you can be more, there's more out there for you, then it's just a cycle, bro. So for me, I'm in it to break that cycle because yes. And that's when the power come in. I've been blessed with privileges and opportunities that I'm going to share with us, with our community, with our brothers, with our sisters, so we can continue to learn, grow, and develop in ways that has never been imagined before. And I think when we lose that hope and when we start that not everyone is going to get it, I think we fail ourselves and our community, right?
No,
and
brother,
also,
I'm committed to teaching everyone that I come across. But I do understand that not everyone will take the information that you give. I do understand that not everyone is going to act on the stuff that I give them. I'm still going to give it, but I know everyone is not going to take it. And we can't give up.
Right, exactly.
We can't give up. But here's my question for you, brother. You said you're going to be making $100,000 in a year or 2 or 3 years or something like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm asking. You said that.
Yeah.
Are you going to leave? Are you going to leave your neighborhood? Or are you gonna stay and build?
I think you could do both. I think it really depends on what you want. So, for example, hold on. For example, I'm from New York City. We talk about housing, right? Houses in New York City are very expensive.
Absolutely.
Right? So if I could live in Jersey or Long Island or even live in Albany and drive 2 hours to still do the work, does it matter? If I'm still doing the work,
as long as you're involved,
exactly. Right, and once again, it's not for me. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Why would I spend $500,000 on a house? Where if I go to Georgia, I could spend $300,000. Not even in the city, you spending like over $500,000 for just a 3-4 bedroom, right? When I could go to Georgia, I could be in Albany and get like so much more for so little, right? So I think it's so many factors that plays into that. It's so many factors.
A lot of people, you know. If they grow up in a toxic environment, they just despise it so much that when they make it, they never want to come back. So I can appreciate that you still want to keep a hand in your community regardless, because and I don't blame the brothers that want to run away, but we'll never grow if we keep leaving. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I wouldn't call it running away. You know, I think some brothers, you know, I'd actually spoke to some brothers that live in other states, and you know, they say that I wanted to raise. Yeah, they may say I want to raise my kid in a different area, you know, to go to a different type of school or just to learn different. I mean, because growing up where I grew up, it wasn't easy, right? Because in the process of trying to build your community, there's challenges that come with that. Safety challenges. There's so many things that happens in these things. So we have to also be realistic on what we're dealing with and how we're going to approach it. You know, because a lot of it is systemic as well. So it's so many factors, bro.
I mean, they like to say, you know, most people are a product of their environment. So, like you said, do I really want to raise my child in that environment if I can move somewhere else and come back to give love whenever I can? So, I can definitely agree with that, man. That sounds like the right way to do it, and as well as invest in real estate in our neighborhoods as well, because we don't own anything, and that's the largest problem. The problem is we don't own anything, and the student loan sometimes plays a part in that. When you take away your cash flow, you're not able to invest in other places. So I feel like if you're going to go deeply in debt for a degree, for some people, it's financially institutionalizing them. For some people, it is. I mean, like you said, I'm going to pay off that debt, you know, in 2, 3 years, 4 or 5 years. That sounds good in theory, but not everyone's going to be able to do that.
But once again, right, when you get that financial literacy, our job is to help people really approach these things from that perspective. And I think also when you thinking about colleges, for example, if I want to go to HBCU, like I wanted to go to HBCU for my master's, but if I know that this program is not a top ranked program for what I want to do in my field, and I'm also going to be charged out of state tuition, why not go SUNY? Like you have to make business decisions that makes financial sense, right? But also I think
So, and some people, depending on their privilege, right? Some people can
Right.
make the decision to go wherever they want, spend however much they want, because some people don't view debt as always a bad thing. Some
That
people,
is not. I mean,
I
that
think
is
it's
beautiful.
perspective.
If
Yeah,
there's an
so
asset behind it.
it's perspective, exactly. You know, and college debt is considered good debt.
No, that's non-bankruptable. College debt is horrible debt if you look at the numbers. Any debt that's non-bankruptable is toxic. You can't even. The only way out of a student loan is death, or you're just incapacitated to the point where you can't work. That is a horrible loan. So you can't say student debt is good.
But let
debt.
me ask you this. So having student debt doesn't allow you to own other assets?
If your debt to income ratio is too high, you cannot own other assets. You can't get a mortgage if your debt to income ratio is too high.
So if I have $100,000 in student loans, I can't close on a house. Or $200,000.
If your income is not high enough, no, you can't. If your income's not high enough, no, you can't. Debt to income ratio.
So, whoa. You said income. All right, so that's a different conversation. If we're saying that debt is causing people not to have ownership, that's one thing, right? But if we're saying, yeah, you can have your debt, but if you make X amount a year, you can still own, that's a different conversation.
The whole conversation stems with people not being able to get jobs in their field. They have the debt, but they don't have the income to back it up.
And I think there's so many factors, though. Like, it's not that simple. Like, I speak to brothers that's in college all the time, and I'm like, yo, you plan on buying a house? Nah, I don't want to do that. But they got other business plans. Or they may not.
Yeah.
But it's not even mindset, right? Not everyone is planning on having a family of 10 or 20 or 5, or it's probably just them, and that may not be how they want to roll. Like, I know a brother that makes over 150 a year, right? And his loans is good. He's great, and he lives in an apartment. He's fine with that, and he's just
nothing wrong with that.
money. But I think it depends on the brother. Like, we can't force that on everyone else because, and don't get me wrong, I believe ownership is amazing. I think that it's a key to building generational wealth. I personally believe that, but that's not for everybody else.
No, of course not. I mean, I know people that don't want wealth. They just want to survive.
Right.
But is that what's best for you? No.
I mean,
is it what's best for your children? No.
Who are we to determine that? Right. So some people are comfortable and complacent, but look, some people are comfortable in their situation. So who are we to say you should do better for yourself? Or
all I'm saying is
to be doing more. Who are we?
All I'm saying is to put your children in a better position than you had to succeed. That's what I'm saying. I think that should be the goal. But like you said, not everybody has that mindset.
So all right, but now let me ask you this. All right, you didn't go to college, but you run a business, no. you own homes, right?
Correct.
Right. And do you feel like you put your child in a position to succeed in the future if you have kids now?
Absolutely. Because I have the financial literacy to pass down and I have the assets to pass down. All
right. So, and that's going to work for you, right? So, and then you take a brother like me, right? I'm about to graduate from a master's program and, you know, I'm working jobs and I'm, you know, building and I'm still setting my kids and my family up for a great future ahead. And we're both going to be well off, right? And I think there's no...
In theory.
No. There's no theory.
No. What I'm saying is you have the degree, but the assets aren't there yet, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's not about the assets, right? Because if I want to close,
you can't pass down a degree.
No.
You can only pass down assets.
No. It's not about the assets, bro. Because I can make sure my kid is great without giving him a house. That's not true.
If you died today, what goes to your children?
No, hold on. If I set up a bank account for my kid and I'm putting money in it every check, thousands a month.
That's an asset. That's an asset. That's a liquid asset. Money's an asset.
But we not.
Money's a liquid asset.
So that's an asset. And my kid would be good. So not only home ownership, and I think the saving the money for the kids is very important, right? But as long as I'm here, my kid will always be good.
But if you died today,
If
you died today, what would you give your children?
But once again, I don't have children, right? But if I know that that's happening, I will be preparing for that. That's what I'm doing.
We got 50 seconds, though. Okay, so get your point out. But no, get your point out, but we can always bring it back.
That's the whole point of what we're doing now. Because when you talk about assets, go back to the house, right? Or even if let's say you start your child account today and you put $1 in it and you died, all he got is $1, right? Or when we talk about a house, if you died today, all he got is your house debt. So the same way you talk about college.
Well, when you sell.
So it's done?
No, we're going to run it back. Let's see.
Cool.
We're just waiting for Jermaine to get back on. We ran out of time. Let's see. Hey, Jermaine, I'll bring you back on now, brother.
King, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Hold on one second. Let me move it around. All right, there we go. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's all good. Hold on, is it frozen? You can hear me?
Yeah, you're all clear. I can hear.
All right, but yeah, no, I was saying, like, you know, if you, let's say, when we take it back to the house, like, you know, you die today, tomorrow, you passing your kid debt, right? Because it's still
no. You're not passing the kid debt, because once the house is sold, he gets the equity that you built up. When you buy an investment property, you put 20% down. 20% of $1 million, we're talking $200,000. So what do you mean?
But I'm saying, I'm saying if you don't sell a house and you have it, because the house need to get paid off first, right? Correct?
No,
like,
you can sell a house before it gets paid off.
All right, that's fair. But
if you put $200,000 down on the house and you take out a loan for $800,000 and the house is worth $1 million, if you die and they sell the house, the person that buys the house puts the money in escrow, the bank gets their debt paid off, and they get the proceeds. So there's no debt being passed down. There's an asset. But with the degree, there is no asset, but there's debt. And whenever you have when you have debt with no asset, sometimes one would say that's bad debt, especially if it's non-bankruptable.
I think it depends on how you look at it, man. I look at a degree as an investment itself. So you create your assets with that degree, right? Because my degree gave me my access, my power of network, and my privilege to make the salary that I desire and to maneuver however I want to maneuver and own whatever I want to own. And I think that came from that came from my education experience. So I think it depends on how you view it. But I truly believe that a degree is an asset, and it's how you maneuver that.
I think a degree brings earning power, but by definition, a degree is not an asset.
It's not.
It does not bring
by definition.
You are the asset with the degree. You are the asset. You hold the degree, get you in the door. You are the asset. So we can't say the degree is the asset. You can't sell it.
Right, but you can't sell yourself if you don't have it either.
No, we're talking about assets.
No, but I know. But with the degree, it allows you to, like, my degree is what's going to allow me to create my assets.
But what if this is you as Jermaine Meadows? But what if someone that's not that driven?
But my thing is let's talk about the reality of it. Driven or not driven, there's power in that, and now you have a decision, and you got to put in the legwork.
But here's the reality: 75% of people will not finish their student debt. They won't be able to pay it. That's the reality. The reality is there's 20 million new college graduates and only 7 million new jobs. That's the reality. So you're talking
what's
about
your solution?
What might happen.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what's your
education?
Solution? What education?
You have to educate.
And all right, so how would you go about it? Less college enrollment?
No, I'm not saying college is a bad thing. I'm saying we have to be educated to be strategic on how we approach college.
Yes,
college is just an option. I agree with that. It's not the option.
Yes,
college is just an option. It's not the option. We have trade schools, we have entrepreneurship, we have college. I never said college is a bad option. Some degrees aren't a good idea. College is an option, though. I definitely agree with that.
Okay.
But we're not educated enough, and we're just telling our kids go to college blindly, and they go to college not knowing what they want to do while they're accumulating debt.
All right, so let me ask you this then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I give you so you graduate high school, you don't go to college. What do you do?
Right.
What do you do?
Well, I think personally you have to find out what your passion is, because no matter what, you can make money off of your passion. Finish. I'm just saying, just like, you may love something, there's someone else that loves that same thing. You can sell, or you can market yourself, and you can create income. You can create revenue.
Right. And
it's
funny because so one thing that what I always think about, and what I tell people who say, I want to go to college, but I don't know what I'm a major in, at least go get your associate's major in liberal arts, right? Because you take general credits that goes into any other major. If you want to do art, music, science, business, engineering, you're going to need those core classes to go into that. So I'll give you an example, right? Me and my little brother argue all the time. He graduated from high school. He's taking a gap year. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? If you ask me, I think that was a waste of year. You should have just went in, right? Because you're going through it, and now you're learning. Because you're not going to be sleeping, wake up one day like, I got a business idea. This is what I want to do. I don't think it works like that. Life gives you experiences, or you may read something, or you may be in a place and hear something, right? And it'll spark a thought in your mind that make you be creative. And I think that's life. Like when you get in the shower, you don't just turn on the water and jump in, right? You turn it, you fill it out, you turn it, you fill it out. And when it feel right, that's when you like, this is for me. And I think college give you that ability to say, I like psychology, or I like sociology, business. I hate math. I love reading and writing. This is what I'm going to do. So I think turning that knob to see where, you know, where do I fit in? Because let's say, and we use other stories. You don't come from a house home where there's assets. You don't come from a house home where there's higher education. How do you find out what makes you spark when you don't have those role models? So what's your options? You go into
But here's the thing about that. This is the internet age. We have access to a wealth of information. You're saying that they won't be able to explore and learn learn different sectors of the world? They have the internet. What do you think about that?
I think the internet is going to be there. I think that's amazing. But if, like, for example, right, when I'm looking up scholarships, sometimes I don't even know where to look. So it's easy to say to go to the internet. I need the language. Colleges, scholarships for grad students, scholarships for black men. I don't know what to put in, right? But those are the things you learn. So when I came here, I started learning, this school offers these specific scholarships, right? So it's like over time, you develop that knowledge.
I'll be honest with you, man. I would say 75% of everything I know when it comes to finance, real estate, I learned on the internet. Just because I'm a bit weird. I mean, I'll stay on the computer 12 hours researching real estate, stocks, charts and stuff like that. So, I mean, I understand not everybody thinks like me and is obsessive about wealth, but it is there. Just like you said, we do have the options, when it comes to college. We have different things in these colleges that are, valuable to us. The internet is there, brother. I mean, I feel like I have a master's degree from all the stuff I've been looking and researching on the internet. It's just, it's really no excuse, but it's the person. It's the person that has to do it. Just like you. Like you're a brother that, you're ambitious. You're going for it. You're networking. You're all over the place.
Right.
Not many people can do what you do.
Right.
There's some people that are a little shy. They don't want to network. They want to just, so it's tough to say everyone can do it because everyone can't do it.
Right. And I mean, you know what though, bro? I always try to go back to, even when you think about, disadvantages and advantages, bro, disabilities, like, bro, there's so many different factors to consider in that, bro. People do not know what they do not know, bro. Like, there's so many things. Like, I can't be mad at you for not knowing. Like, you got 100, you got 90 people doing this, 10 people doing that. You probably gonna go with a 90, or you might end up with a 10, but it's a strong might, right? So it's like once again, it takes brothers like me and you and other brothers that's doing what we doing and having these conversations and putting something together to change that, bro. We have to shift the culture, right? And I was just saying this to somebody, when you think about what's happening right now with black and brown people, just this past weekend with the killings this past week, right? With the police brutality in New York City, no one is going to get us together but us. And until we stop leaving it to other people, we're going to keep going through these things. And when you think about history, like, when you think about Martin Luther King, when you think about brothers like Thurgood Marshall, Malcolm X, and you think about sisters, and you think about the Black Panthers, those people was the head that was chopped, and we the body we the body that's all over the place. When you think about how black and brown people is treated throughout the world today, bro, it's disgusting. And we don't come together to really change those things, bro. But really, we've been privileged. We blessed with knowledge. Knowledge is power that we have, and that's why we having this discussion, right? And we're not going back and forth about what's trending on Twitter. We're having an intellectual conversation, you know what I'm saying, among two brothers, which is amazing because you don't normally see that every day. So how can we take our platform and share that with the younger generation and even older people, right? So, like, for example, right now, and for the people on this podcast on a live that's listening, so I launched my business, Breaking Barriers, today, right? And when I was in West Africa, I came back with 21 pieces of fabric. And right now I'm looking for someone to sew together at least 100 to 200 masses so I could just donate to communities in need, right? So I've been blessed to be in this situation. I have the fabric, right? So now let's make it something out of it instead of waiting for the government to pull up and say, here, black people that's struggling, this is for you. But we can clearly see that they're just beating us up and handing out masks to others in the park when they're supposed to be social distancing.
Yep. Absolutely. I totally agree with everything you're saying, man. We are at a disadvantage, and we do have to come together and push the knowledge. But it's just that, like you said, we're lucky. We are lucky just to have access, because for a brother in a different area, which may be 10 times worse than the areas we live in, he's not seeing this. You know, he's not seeing people in his community speaking like this. It's all negativity. There's no way out. People really feel like there's no way out. And it's just like, how do we really infiltrate that to give people hope? Because a lot of people just think there's no option, you know, and it really does suck, but it's tough, man. It really is tough.
Yeah, bro. And if we constantly think that, you know, there's no way out, there's nothing that we could do, then that's how we're going to keep staying in this cycle, you know, and the history is going to keep repeating itself. And
that's what they want.
We got to do something. Yeah, exactly, bro. We got to do something about that. So I think the knowledge is the key, and then sharing the knowledge as well is the extra key. You know, because what's knowledge if you don't put it to use is nothing. It's a waste. It's not even knowledge anymore because you wasted it. It's wasted knowledge. You know, so
it's true, man. It's true. Yeah, that's a fact, man. I really feel like, you know, we put forth a wealth of knowledge today, man. Just giving the people a lot of gems.
Yeah, definitely.
Just from both of our experiences, man. We're from just like two different parts of the world. Like, you're in the education realm and I'm in the entrepreneur space. So it's great to have two different perspectives battling, because, you know,
I'm
even
with
though
you
we
now
can
in
debate,
entrepreneurship, brother. I'm with you now.
You know what's crazy, man?
I'm right there with you, King.
Yeah, speaking with you today just about college, just having this conversation, it's an eye opener. You know, my mind is a bit more open. Just seeing that college it's a legitimate opportunity when used correctly.
Yes,
but
definitely.
How are we going to get our people to use it correctly? That's the big question, and we just got to keep pushing forward to try to make a change. But it is an option. It is an option. So I'm just wondering if you have any advice for all the viewers right now, just if they're a college student or someone that wants to go to college. Do you have any advice for them?
I would definitely say looking into scholarships. One thing that I wish I did kind of more was look into internships or look into summer volunteering opportunities. And if you work full time, see where you could volunteer on a weekend, because it's not only about the experience. You build connections and relationships with people that'll last you a long time, and you get a wealth of knowledge that can help you advance. Because someone may teach you something that I never learned, and now you come back and we teaching each other. So I think it's important to put yourself in spaces and look at the places that you want to be, and look and see the people that's doing it. See how they're doing it. Ask them questions. You know, how did this happen? How did you get here? And definitely follow that. And your own style.
It's a beautiful thing. For sure, brother. Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking to you today, man. Definitely great to go back and forth with a strong brother with a strong argument, man. For sure. I think it's one of the strongest arguments, because I've been going against college for years, man. And this is one of the strongest arguments that I've come across. Just being able to go back and forth with you was a blessing, man. Opened my mind for sure.
Thanks, King, man. I welcome these, back and forth debates all the time, and it's all love, and it's intellectual stimulating among brothers, and I think that's amazing, bro. We need to keep that going and stay sharp for when the real fights come.
Exactly. Iron sharpens iron, they say, man.
Exactly. So, yes, sir, King.
So just for the audience, where can they find you? Like social media?
Way to
contact
on Facebook. Instagram, it's all the same. Jermaine Meadows, JermaineMeadows, Meadows, and also the link to my company. As soon as you go to my Instagram page, it's right there in the bio.
Okay, perfect. I'll be sure to check that out myself. So, man, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to go ahead and bring Kev back on to close this out. But, man, one of the most fruitful conversations I've had in a while, man. I really appreciate it talking to you.
Yes, sir, King. I appreciate you, my brother. Bless up.
Absolutely, bro. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Come on.
All right.